Hi everybody, welcome to Hip Hop and Her. My name is Anissa and this is a positive place for hip hop where I talk my point of view, my opinion, my perspective as it pertains to hip hop. And I'm excited for this one today. I got a good one. I got a fun one, if you will. So I'll just be sharing with you all my experience attending the Meek Mill Motivation Tour. And yeah, we'll get right on into it. I got my little notes here, so I'll make sure I won't forget anything. But let's dive right on into it. So Meek Mill kicked off the Motivation Tour in the beautiful, the lovely, magical Miami Beach, Florida, and great atmosphere, great location. The concert was actually held at the Fillmore at Miami Beach. Perfect location, because if you've ever been to Miami, then you'll know that there's a lot of little hotels along the strips between Collins and Ocean Drive, and the particular hotel that we were at, we were able to walk to the venue. So it took us 8 minutes, and that was just walking, and the weather was phenomenal. Not only that, when you're in Miami, you're bound to see a celebrity or two. So I thought it was pretty cool that I don't want to say bumped into, but we literally just seen Kidding on the way to the venue. So that was a cool experience in itself. So actually getting down to the venue, I noticed there was not a long line to get into the building. If you've ever been to concerts, depending on the type of venue the concert is at, there can be hours and hours of you waiting, even beyond the time of when the concert is going to start. So I appreciated the fact that when we got there, I would say it was probably 2 lines and maybe 5 people in front of us. So it took maybe 2 minutes for us to actually get into the venue. And once we got into the venue, it was a nice wide open space. They had sections for you to be able to grab something to eat, probably 4 or 5 sections. So saying that to say, if you had a need to grab a drink or get something to eat, the lines were not ridiculously long to where you missed the chance of seeing your artist perform. So that was a plus. So actually getting down to the location to where the concert was being held, that was a little bit different. So when we got to the entry point, there was an attendant or a lady who basically told us it's at capacity, and she pointed us to a section of seats. Now, the section or the tickets that we purchased were for floor seats, and it was just a general admission for this particular venue. So it was kind of interesting that she gave us, or that she pointed us to a section for seats, because those would have been the higher seats than what we originally paid for. So the positive to having a seat is that you have a seat. So I know ladies, sometimes we like to dress to the T's and we like to have on our heels, and it may not be so convenient to be standing on the floor the whole time. So having a seat is a positive, to where if you needed to run to the ladies' room or to the gentleman's room, grab something to eat or grab something to drink, you can go and do that, and your seat is reserved. And especially if you go with someone, because then you could take turns in the event that someone try to get the seat or do, you know. So if you go into a concert, it's likely that you're going with someone else. So and then the negative side to that is that basically you're not as close as you could be if you actually had the floor section or that floor seat. So personally, I like a good floor seat so I can feel the energy of the artist and just be a little bit closer. So I don't mind to stand up a little bit longer. I feel like, I'm getting my workout on, in the sense of just like jumping or whatever, but to each their own. So that's just something to think about. I will acknowledge the Fillmore, because it seemed like wherever you would have sat, there was like a perfect view of the actual stage. So that's definitely a positive. So I'll show some footage of basically my point of view in the crowd or in the audience, and it was just dead on. I felt like I was directly in the very middle of the stage of the atmosphere. So that is basically the venue and some details about actually getting the seats and how that worked. Now, actual crowd participation or crowd engagement, that was probably on a 9, 8, 9, if on a scale to 1 to 10. As you know, Meek Mill, he comes from that rap battle background, and he got some, you know, some fast flows to his delivery. So there were points where he did songs a cappella and the crowd was just in awe, I would say, just admiring the way that he was able to do the flow and break it down. And then there were other times to where the crowd just going word for word, bouncing up and down to the energy that Meek Mill was giving off on stage. So speaking of energy, I felt like Meek Mill had great, strong presence. He's not an artist that you'll see, you know, dancing, doing the shimmy, but he had, you know, some moves. But saying that to say, he still was able to keep the crowd engaged, and I appreciated the little points of personal content as he went into certain songs like Trauma, or giving some details of a particular incident that happened to him, of why he may have wrote that song. So those are always, I should say, little special moments to where you feel like they're engaging and connecting with the audience. So shout out to Meek Mill for his presence on stage. And of course, you know, he had a rack of change just dancing. He don't dance, but his diamonds dance, if you will. That was corny, but you get what I'm trying to say. So A1 to that. Also, speaking of crowd participation and engagement, that has a lot to do with the songs that the artist is performing. So Meek Mill performed probably 15, 16 songs of the actual championship album, and I thought that was amazing because there's 19 songs on that album, and he played a lot of the album. So if you're somebody who really enjoys that artist or respects the art, you can appreciate an artist being on stage, giving that time and dedication to the song. So he played Oodles and Noodles, Almost Slipped, Trauma, 100 Summers, Championships, What's Free, Going Bad, 1942 Flows. Speaking of 1942 Flows, Meek Mill gave you a little bit of his previous projects, which was good as well as current and what's happening today. So again, I just liked his transition in the way that he did or presented the actual songs that he performed. So good for you, Meek Mill, on that. Speaking of performances, so there were a few performances that I was shocked to see, and that's not a good nor a bad thing. So he had Cash Doll open up for him. Salute to her, salute to the ladies doing their thing and rap and keeping it positive, if you will. So he had Cash Doll perform. He also had an appearance with Young Miami. Also, Melly came out as well and did a song with Meek Mill. He also had Tory Lanez, and then Lil Durk. Let me tell you, when Lil Durk came out, for a second I thought it was Meek Mill because the crowd went wild. So Florida / Miami, they love him some Meek Mill, or of course they love him some Meek Mill. He had a greater roar than Lil Durk, but my point is that when Lil Durk came out on stage, everybody went crazy. So salute to him. Also, I'm not sure if I already mentioned this, but the crowd's going wild. There was a lady or individual, a young lady who was, I'm sure, a super fan. She literally knew every single word to every song that Meek Mill performed. I'm talking about, even if Meek Mill said, she knew that part as well. So I was like, okay, girl. But that could just add to the energy that's in the atmosphere. So salute to that girl who was behind me, because she kept it hype, if you will. But yeah, again, Meek Mill, he had a few people perform for him. Crowd participation was great, location was great, and the overall setting was good. I want to say Meek Mill got on stage at about 9 p.m. and he got off stage, or he was done with his set at like around 11:15. So overall, I felt like it was a great show from Meek Mill, especially with this being my first time seeing him live. He carries that same energy as you would suspect or imagine him in the booth, so I could appreciate that. I overall enjoyed my experience. I had a lot of energy within the concert and even after. So if you're somebody who is anticipating going to a Meek Mill concert, why not? If you are going to a Meek Mill concert in the future, let me know down in the comments. We can have a conversation about it. If anything that I said in this video was helpful or if you liked it, don't hesitate to hit that like button. And I greatly appreciate you for your time and tuning in. And let me know if you have any suggestions for other maybe concerts that you would like to see or any other particular suggestions. But again, thank you for your time today. Until next time.